Ladies and gentlemen, please notice that exits are conveniently located at the front and rear of this auditorium. When leaving the theater, we suggest that the exit at the front of the auditorium will allow you easier access to the parking areas. Thank you.
And away we go. That's a new thing I'm working on. When you always love that, let's just leave questions.
I don't
walk right into that.
There are some. I'm not saying this is a good movie.
Oh, what?
That is finished Willem Dafoe. He looks just like Willem Dafoe.
I thought he looked very familiar.
Don't throw out a fact.
You are correct.
Butler, you should use some facts sometimes. Do some facts sometimes. Butler, don't take my
I'm pretty confident your brother doesn't listen to the Forgotten Cinema podcast, but if he does, boo.
Hello, I'm Mike Butler.
And I'm Mike Field.
And you're listening to the Forgotten Cinema podcast. Each episode, we highlight a film that, for a variety of reasons, was forgotten by audiences. Whether it be because a more popular movie was released at the same time, or the film simply didn't catch on with an audience in its initial run. We'll discuss what we love about the movie, or perhaps don't love about it, but we'll always recommend you revisit. If you enjoy our podcast, please feel free to rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening to this podcast. So before we continue, Feliz Navidad.
Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
Oh, oh,
I don't know
oh.
when Hanukkah is. I don't celebrate Hanukkah. But happy Hanukkah if it's past.
I believe it's actually on Christmas this year.
Is it really?
Or the day before.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh, we might not be busy at all then at the theater.
Oh, no, we'll still be busy. Families don't like to spend time together.
Oh, that's not true. We're about to do a movie about family, and you just crapped all over
if
family.
they watch this movie, maybe they'd learn the importance of family and not go to the movie theater.
This
and
is
separate each
true.
other.
This is true. We, of course, are talking about The Family Man, the 2000 film directed by Brett Ratner, starring Nicolas Cage, Tay Leoni, and I don't have this stuff in front of me right now, so a bunch of people that I will get to.
Oh, wow.
Well, I mean, I'm going to go right now. No, actually, no, wait a minute. No, that's right. I go into the facts now. So let me do that again. Directed by Brett Ratner, Nicolas Cage, starring Nicolas Cage, Tay Leoni, Don Cheadle, Jeremy Piven, Saul Rubinek, Joseph Summer, and then I have just a list of people that are in there that we'll probably get to, but they're like small parts here and there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so our story is about Jack Campbell, played by Nicolas Cage, who is with Kate Reynolds, played by Tay Leoni, and you find them at JFK Airport. They're together. He is about to leave to go on an internship with Barclays in London. So yeah,
Yep. This is 1987.
correct. This is 2000, but this is 13 years. Yeah. Okay. I was trying to figure out if they were saying 99, even though because they shot in 99. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. Yep. So he's leaving for a year. He thinks it's going to be okay, but Kate has a fear of separation and that this won't work out. She begs for him to stay because she says she chooses us. But he says, no, everything's fine. He leaves 13 years later, as we just talked about. They are not together. He is a bachelor who's living a wonderful life. He's a Wall Street executive who has tons of money, and he's on the cusp of putting together this like $1 billion merger. So he leaves his office on Christmas Eve, goes to a convenience store where Don Cheadle, who plays Cash, comes in. He says he has a winning lottery ticket for $238. The store clerk says, no, get lost. The store clerk, played by Ken Leung. Leung? I think I said that wrong. He's from Lost. When you saw the movie, did you kind of...
I did not.
Oh, you didn't? You didn't recognize him?
I didn't really watch Lost.
Really?
Yeah, just looked at
I unfortunately did. Kind of hate watched Lost. So, but back to Cash. He's trying to get his winning lottery ticket cashed. He says, no, I don't believe you. You're full of it. Cash pulls out a gun, threatens him. Jack says, hey, listen, I'll buy the ticket. He tries to quell the situation, if you will. Then they leave the convenience store. He says, yeah, sure, whatever. They leave. And then Cash is like, he says, hey, thanks, Jack, whatever. And he's like, how do you know my name? So you're kind of thinking like something's up there. Jack tries to offer to buy the gun. And then that's when Cash says, like, why? What are you trying to do here? Like, what do you need? And he's like, I don't need anything. My life is perfect. Then you get the idea. He's like, okay, well, remember you said that. The next day he wakes up and suddenly Jack is now married to Tay Leoni, to Kate Reynolds. They have 2 kids. He's living in Jersey, and he is getting a glimpse of his life, what it would have been like if he never got on that plane. Now, he doesn't realize that at the time. He has to figure that out as he goes throughout I think it goes like a week and a half, probably from Christmas to... Actually, no, it doesn't end before New Year's. I think it's like a week. I think it's in terms of like the span of the time frame of the movie. I'm asking you.
He says at the end, doesn't he say these last few weeks?
Maybe it's been a couple because
I think it's been a couple. I think it's been a couple.
All right, so it's been a couple weeks. And then Jack gets this glimpse of his life, and then he's this life of a family man, and if he never went on that plane, he actually comes back. He goes on the plane, but he comes back
in this alternate universe.
In this glimpse of this alternate universe, as Mike has just said. And, that's it. He just kind of gets a glimpse of his life, what it would be like. And then, that glimpse is taken away. And then the ending happens, which I don't like to I guess for some reason I don't like to reveal in the plot. But yeah.
We'll reveal this week.
So yeah, that's it. So let's go to the facts. Runtime of 125 minutes, rated PG-13, had a production budget of $60 million. It was released on December 22nd, 2000, so clearly a Christmas movie.
Mm-hmm.
Opening weekend did 10.5 million. Domestically did 75. Worldwide 125. I thought it was a little bit more. I thought it made a little bit more money. I don't know why I thought that. Maybe because it's a Christmas movie. Maybe it's because a holiday movie. It's more domestic based kind of thing. You know what I mean?
I suppose.
Because it made more money domestically than worldwide. I mean, worldwide is both total, so it made only 50 million internationally, based on what I'm saying here.
Well, that was kind of 2000 was like the beginning of the international market really taking off.
True. Okay. It did since it came out on the 22nd of December, which for all intents and purposes is the Christmas weekend. Now I looked and there was no movies that came out on the 25th. Everything came out on the 22nd, which I thought was weird because maybe a couple years after this. Now we have movies that'll come out
on the day,
the Friday, and then like the first Friday before, and
right?
then, yes, on the day of Christmas. So we'll have like 2 or 3 films come out on, like, let's just say for the sake of argument, 23rd, and on the 25th we'll have another 5 come out. So I thought that was odd, but on the 22nd it opened up against Castaway and Miss Congeniality, which were very popular.
Tough competition, yeah,
exactly. Which is probably why its opening weekend was 10.5. Because it opened third that weekend behind Castaway and actually What Women Want, which was in its second week. Because on the 15th was What Women Want, Dude, Where's My Car? Why is that a December movie? I don't know. And Emperor's New Groove. And then the week before that, you had Vertical Limit, Proof of Life, and Dungeons and Dragons, which I have completely blown that. What?
Emperor's New Groove opened
the 15th of December.
He's got an Emperor's New Groove VHS tape.
Interesting.
In his living room.
Interesting. Maybe I don't believe my notes are wrong.
No, I was surprised it was an Emperor's New Groove VHS when I saw it. I was like, it's a little newer for that VHS to be there.
Yeah. Directed by Brett Ratner. You may know him from Rush Hour series, Tower Heist, After the Sunset, and the 6 sexual assault allegations against him.
Oh,
we just like
Christmas,
to say that
man.
Exactly. Listen, we are celebrating this movie and everyone else that made this movie in terms of his Ratner's extracurricular activities. Obviously, we do not support that. That is ridiculous, and it's disgusting. And when we were doing this movie, when we were researching this film, and eventually I had to get onto the sites where I was like, okay, well, this is what he has, like, what has been alleged. I'm just like, ugh, just it's really stupid. Written by David Diamond and David Weissman. They are responsible for Evolution, which is I find very odd because Evolution is more of an improv movie because that's how Ivan Reitman directs. It's there's a script, but it's a loose script, and they just kind of riff.
Right. I like Evolution, but I believe you don't like Evolution?
don't. I'm not an Evolution fan. No,
right.
Sorry. They also did When in Rome, which was what's her name? Veronica Mars.
Kristen Bell?
Yeah, Kristen Bell. When she goes to, is that when she throws the penny in and like Danny DeVito loves her or somebody?
Yep. All those guys. Yeah.
Music by Danny Elfman. For other credits, I have Everything I Like. Cinematography by Dante Spinati. Spinati.
I think I would say Spinati.
He has a ton of credits, but I'm just going to list some of the ones you might be more familiar with. LA Confidential. More recently, Black and Blue. Heat. And Hudson Hawk. Yeah. Bringing it back. Season 1. So that's it. I mean, we can get into the movie. I've got a couple other facts that I can probably pepper in after that. All right, so right off the bat, one of the things I noticed, did you notice the aspect ratio was off?
I mean, a little bit, but I have figured that was due to the fact that I watched it on Stars.
Yeah,
Shout out to Stars.
But you had the bars.
I don't think I did. I think it was just all stretched.
Well, then that's terrible because it was 235.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I watched it. I watched it on a DVD. I'm sorry, not a Blu-ray. So it was 235, but I think, and I looked it up. Portions of the movie were shot 239 as well as 235. So there were scenes in the movie where they were thin. You know, like when you watch Die Hard at the end of Die Hard, and everyone's super thin. Yeah, that's because it's 239 put up to 235.
I did notice that.
Yeah, so I think that parts of this movie were shot differently. I don't know why. I don't know why you split up your aspect ratio like that.
Reshoots, poor planning.
I didn't see anything about reshoots. I noticed it to the point where it's just like, why are they thin? And it wasn't like at the end of the movie. It was at certain points of the movie.
Right.
So I don't know if you had caught that.
Did you catch at the end, at the very end, when he's talking to Kate and Jack's trying to get Kate back at the airport?
Yes.
After she says, okay, 1 cup of coffee, and it shoots back to his close up.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost as if it was an unfinished, unedited shot. The color is off. It's grainier. It's almost like they were like, oh, we don't have a shot of his reaction. Let's insert something. And like they didn't have time to colorize it or match it with anything else.
I did not notice
so just
that.
like it's all off. And
I
it
didn't-
looks just like unused footage.
I didn't notice that at all. No. Nice job. I mean, I have to go back and look.
Yeah,
that
that bothered me more than the tall thing. Although I did notice
It
that.
is a 19-year-old movie. So, I mean, it could
but
be.
it was just that
No, I
one
hear
shot.
that.
Yeah, because it was a little desaturated, I would say, compared to the rest of that scene where it was kind of like had a gold tint to everything. And now
Right.
you flip back to him and it's grayer and there's marks on the film and stuff like that. So I
Right.
was like, oh, that's weird.
So I had not seen this movie for I probably saw, I honestly, did I watch it last year? I may have watched it a couple of years ago. I mean, I've seen this movie off and on.
Okay.
What's funny is that on this watch with me was I felt more, what's the word I'm looking for? Not sympathy, but I related more to just the life of the family man, probably because I'm
You are now the family man.
Exactly. Not in terms of like, oh, I could have been this rich and powerful man if I didn't, stay with my wife.
I
at
could
the
be
time.
directing films right now. I could be somebody.
Not in that regard, but in the regard of just the Christmas week. It's just a complete mess and a disaster and just all that stuff. Everything, now that's for me, but I know for you, because one of the notes I have here is that I think this movie highlights our different perspectives in terms of
I
where
thought
we
that
come
while I
from.
was watching it, I
Right.
was like, you know what? This is going to be interesting because Field is kind of
Right.
the family man. He's
So
got
I-
all these things, and
so
I
I'm-
don't.
Right. So as we go through this, or even right now, I'm curious as to like what you responded to more in this movie in terms of just what made you laugh, what not made you cry, but made you feel or emote.
I mean, I still feel for I still like the family aspect of it. You
Sure.
know, I'm pretty sure I'm the one that put this on the list because I enjoy that part. I enjoy, him having the family and stuff like that. I think we all want that, but we all also want his other life.
Mhm.
And I think that's just part of, when you're in college, you're like, I want to be rich and powerful. But then you get a little older and you're like, I want a family too and stuff like
Mhm.
that. And then it's like, most people want both. And
Mhm.
it's like, you can't necessarily have both, or at least a normal version of both.
You can have both, but you're going to it's almost like a jack of all trades, master of none kind of scenario. Like you
Right.
can have both, but stuff's gonna suffer.
Right, exactly.
You're not going to be there completely either one or the other. I mean that's I know there's probably people listening like I do it, and that's great, good for you. Well, not everyone's wired like that.
Listen, if you have that much money as Jack Campbell, feel free to send some our way.
You're already doing a pitch.
Listen, I could use some microphones.
Oh,
How about this question?
All right.
What was different from, let's say, the last time you saw it to this, specifically, what did you feel or what parts made you feel a little differently than last time? Was it the hopelessness at the beginning or him kind of getting into his groove later on?
well, one of the things I noticed, or one of the notes I had that was when he was the reality of Jack in reality, rich, successful, not the glimpse.
Mhm.
He wasn't like a jerk. Like he liked it. He was like but he was still a nice person. Do you know
Right,
what
which
I
is
mean?
why he's helped Cash. And
Right. He
Yeah.
wasn't somebody who was completely, corrupted by money and all that stuff. He was somebody who was still the same person. It's just he didn't end up with Kate. And, this is where he loves his life and stuff like that. So and watching it, somebody like he believes he has everything he needs, as he tells Cash.
Mhm.
I have everything I need. I don't need anything. But he finds out that no, what he's missing is, love, is missing being a family guy, having 2 kids, just that lifestyle. And I think at the end when he tells her, I don't know what it was, but I've seen what it's like when we're together, and I want that. I choose. He uses the line. He repeats the line to her. I choose us.
yes.
Which it's funny. It's like I almost feel like when they're having that conversation, so eventually, at the end when they're talking, we're supposed to assume that okay, they're gonna get together, You know what I mean? Yeah, that's what. Like at some point, like I want to see the conversation where he's like, I want to thank you for doing what I couldn't do 13 years ago because you decided to stay. It's like,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like she is like instantly more in touch with what important to them, to the both of them.
Right.
So I thought, I don't know. I always thought that. I was like, well, she stayed. You didn't stay. You know,
Yep.
Stuff like that. Although like we said, he comes back. He actually, because he finds the ticket in the book that he takes the next flight back.
Yeah, in the glimpse.
Right.
The glimpse.
I wonder if like that movie, if it was in today's time and someone's leaving to go to London, I would think long distance relationships are a little easier to do now because of technology and smartphones.
Compared to 1987, yeah,
Right.
absolutely. But
Right.
you'd still have that same thing. Long distance
Well, you
relationships
don't have
are still
intimate
tough.
contact, stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah, right. No, I hear that. I get that. I think it's amazing that after 2 kids that they both look the same. Like I mean, like if I'm remaking this, like I would like
Recast the younger ones.
No, not at all. I would make him like have like 20 extra pounds. Like, you know
I
what
was
mean?
surprised about that. Yeah, he wasn't as in shape. Now he's pretty in shape in the dressing room when he's got his underpants.
Oh, he's in
on,
shape
he's dancing.
regardless. Yeah,
But I'm pretty sure that's because this is around the time where he was training to become Superman for his canceled Superman Lives project.
well, this movie was after he had done bringing out the dead and another movie, 8mm.
Mhm.
Because he mentions that, you know, there were 2 movies that were pretty dark, and like, you know,
He wanted to do something lighter.
well, yeah, he at first didn't really want to do the movie, but like I guess Ratner talked him into it.
Well, I guess his production companies produced it, but
Saturn Pictures,
originally John Travolta was up for his role.
Yeah, which I couldn't see that.
No, because I don't think John Travolta always plays like nice, even when he's bad, and like so I can't see him at the beginning where he's really kind of trying to not accept being the family man.
Mhm.
I just can't see him doing that, or at least being that great at it.
Yeah.
Like he's just too nice, John. Just do it.
The character of Lassiter, played by Joseph Summer, he's actually in Strange Days. He's also the bad guy in Witness. I think he's the bad guy in Witness. Yeah, he's the bad guy in Witness.
Oh, okay.
He plays Peter Lassiter. What's the name of what's Lassiter's first name in Psych? Is not Peter, right?
No,
What is
I don't
it?
remember.
My
You
wife's
watched it more than me.
My wife's gonna kill me because I can't remember it. So he has that line where he asks him about he asks him, hey, you know, I got a phone call out of the blue from an old flame.
Oh, yeah.
And he's just like, old flames are like old tax returns. Leave him in the file room for 3 years and cut him loose. It's like, oh Jesus. Like instantly, like, I don't like this guy. But then when we see him in the glimpse, I'm like, that still carries over for me. Like I'm still like, I don't like this guy, even though like, and what he's doing when he talks to him at the dealership and he brings him in and then he tries to undercut Alan Mintz, who's played by Saul Rubinek,
Right.
you know, like tries to bring him in. And they have that little tete-a-tete with each other.
Yeah.
Like that, his line here kind of, for me, pulls through the entire movie. And I'm just like, this guy's a jerk. Like,
He tells you he's a jerk at the beginning. He's
No,
like, why aren't you I don't see you going anywhere for Christmas. He goes, oh, I'm a cold heartless bastard. It's like that's him. That's his
Right.
character. And he freely admits that. He's let the business aspect take him over.
right.
He's the future Jack Campbell.
That's what I was
Jack
gonna say.
doesn't
That's
fix
probably
it.
where
Yeah.
Jack's going. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Hey, Peter, let me ask you a question. An old girlfriend calls you out of the blue on Christmas Eve. What do?
You suddenly having trouble getting dates?
Yeah.
Leave it in the past. Old flames are like old tax returns. Put them in the file cabinet for 3 years and then you cut them loose.
No, so yeah, agreed. Why do you think this was forgotten? Because I honestly don't think I don't. Maybe it's forgotten in terms of this is one of those movies that it's forgot. You know, I asked you the question. Why do you think it's forgotten? I don't know why I'm trying to answer my own question.
Because here's why I chose it. Because if you ask, have you seen The Family Man? Have you seen The Family Man? With the exception of my fiance, who finally watched it. Usually get, oh yeah, but it's usually that, oh yeah, like they haven't seen it since 2000. And I think it's worth revisiting. I really enjoy the storyline. I think it's got stuff to say. It's heartwarming, but not like, it's not overly sappy. It doesn't punch you in the face with that sap.
I disagree, but go ahead.
as much as most Christmas movies would. And I think maybe it's forgotten because it's a Christmas movie, but it's also not really a Christmas movie. It doesn't really focus on the Christmas aspect of it. And I think other people, when they think Christmas movies, like, I gotta pop in Christmas Vacation or Elf or something that really like explodes with red, green, and white. Christmassy.
Yeah.
And maybe that because this doesn't, but it's not necessarily a any time of year movie.
Mm-hmm.
An evergreen movie, if you would.
Nice. Nice verbiage. I like that.
Right. I think maybe that's why it's forgotten, why people don't come back to it even though they've seen it.
To go back to your point about the schmaltz, or not the schmaltz,
I've seen much schmaltzier things.
See, I think this movie relies heavily on charm than substance. I think this movie is cashing in on nostalgia because, let's be honest, this movie is a reverse It's a Wonderful Life. And it doesn't make any bones about it. It is. That's what it is. And I think maybe this movie gets an unfair rap probably from some people because they're just like, oh, they're just doing It's a Wonderful Life. I saw that already. Like they dismiss it. But I think a lot of people also, because you had mentioned that your fiance wasn't kind of like, she had never watched it because of Nicolas Cage. She wasn't a huge Nick Cage fan. Like she couldn't see him in this role.
She's not that she's not a Nick Cage fan. She's used to unhinged Nicolas Cage.
Sure.
Like, from National Treasure on, like after National Treasure, it's just like weird roles where he's shouting and he's doing his Nicolas Cage thing all the time.
She has to go watch older movies because he's been doing that.
Exactly. But also she hasn't seen like him using that to create just oddball normal guys like Raising Arizona. I always bring up and even Red Rock West, where he's kind of subdued, but he's just a normal guy in Red Rock West too. Like he doesn't overdo it.
Yeah.
Whereas now, with like Mandy and like the Color of whatever that's coming out.
Color of Space.
He's doing a lot of weird roles where his weirdness is maybe more exacerbated.
Go back and watch Peggy Sue Got Married. He's doing a fake voice in that the entire time, but to the point where they hated it. They couldn't stand that he was doing this stupid ass nasally voice, which is, I think it's funny, but
yeah, I can see Nick Cage being kind of an off-putting presence in the film for some people. I really like Nicolas Cage. I love his ability to go anywhere with a role. Just he'll let loose. Go Nick. Just do your own thing, and he will do his own thing.
No, I enjoyed him in this, and so yeah. So I mean, because reserved Nick Cage he's a good actor. He's a very good actor. He's just, I think people just kind of glom onto like, everyone's always going to bring up the Wicker Man when he's punching that bear. So and that's fine, but he's willing
not the bees.
He's willing to do that, and that's what you want out of an actor, the willingness to put yourself all out there, because that's what you're doing all the time.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Do you have any lines that you really liked in this movie? I already said one, but I got a couple that I really enjoyed.
I know I've written some stuff
Okay.
down. I mean, I like when his freak out in the suit store.
Oh yeah.
When he goes, sorry, I'm being a prick. And it's like just all of a sudden like, oh, there's Nick Cage. That's why I like shouted out, there he is.
Do you have any idea what my life is like?
Excuse me?
I wake up in the morning covered in dog saliva. I drop the kids off, spend 8 hours selling tires retail. Retail game. I pick the kids up, walk the dog, which, by the way, carries the added bonus of carting away her monstrous crap. I play with the kids, take out the garbage, get 6 hours of sleep if I'm lucky, and then everything starts all over again.
That scene, I couldn't stop laughing. Like I laughed for probably like a minute and a half when he's putting on the suit, and she's like, well, how much is that? And she's like, $2,400. She's like, no way. And he's like, she got the shoes.
Shoes were $25.
Like, she got those shoes.
Where are my Mary Jeans?
Yeah, I know. I thought that I couldn't stop laughing. And then like when he has the bell, and she's like, that's my bell. She took my bell.
Oh yeah, she just takes it.
Yeah, just the fact that he wasn't like, that's not my kid. Like that, who is this strange being and stuff like that.
What? Hey, what's that? I like it. Thanks, Dad.
That's mine. Hey, I need that back. She took my bell.
I do like the little girl's really, really good. Mackenzie Vega does a really good as Annie. She does a fantastic job. The scene where she's like, "You're not really my dad, are you?"
Right.
That whole scene is really good. Where she goes to her, "Don't take me away. You're not going to abduct my mom,
right,
my brother,
right.
are you?"
Do you like kids?
On a case-by-case basis.
Do you know how to make chocolate milk?
I think I could figure it out.
Promise you won't kidnap me and my brother and plant stuff in our brains?
Sure.
Welcome to Earth.
And I also like when she drinks the chocolate milk. Is this enough chocolate for you? And the chocolate milk is like black. It's got so much chocolate on it. I think she got the whole mustache, the whole conversation.
No, I like that. But again, I think that adds to my, I guess not argument, but my
The
take
schmaltz
that,
over
that
substance.
it relies on that a lot for you to like to be in on this movie. Because this movie doesn't really, I don't want to say it's not deep. It is. It's almost like surface deep. It's almost like just deep enough for you to find something out of it that you love.
I think the theme of the movie is obviously family. And, you know, it's important to have family. Even if you think you have everything in the world, if you don't have love, the love of, you know, a spouse, a significant other, the love of children, you know, you're always going to live an incomplete life. I think that's an important theme, but I do think it's such a common theme and such a, I don't know, ingrained into our just biology kind of a theme that it's not necessarily something that people look at and go, oh man, that's real deep. Because it's not, everybody knows that.
Yeah. I will say this though, in the glimpse, in the alternate reality, everybody, all the characters pretty much are the same from reality to the glimpse, like in terms of their character, except one.
Alan?
Yes. For some reason, he's a dick in the alternate reality. Like
Because he's got the Jack Campbell treatment.
Okay, so then basically the real bad guy in this is Lassiter. Because if you let Lassiter get his hooks into you and mentor you, he's going to mentor you to be somebody who is going to turn out to be a jerk.
Well, not necessarily a jerk, but where money kind of is all important to you. But
True.
Alan, even though he's got more of a backbone, he's more assertive. He's more like, this is my job and I will do anything. He's still got the crib in his office. He's still got the kids.
He's still a family guy. Yeah.
He's still trying to do that thing, but maybe like you said, you can't be great at both. But he's still not necessarily full Jack Campbell. But yes, I can see like that, the theme that money has some kind of corrupting power over you.
Well, I think like people always say like money, you know, it reveals your true nature. You know, when you get money, when you have money, it reveals the type of person you really are. I mean, I can believe that to an extent because, you know,
I do like the scene where he's talking to Alan after Lassiter leaves, and he's like, "Oh, Alan, you really do got a backbone in there, anyway, don't you? Oh, I'm so proud of you."
Oh, who else or what else stood out to you? I mean, I got a bunch of stuff, but I don't want to sit here.
I haven't really even pulled from my notes yet.
Nice, because I don't want to monopolize this conversation, Butler.
I mean, you talk about how it's a lot like reverse It's a Wonderful Life. It's also a little bit like which I guess It's a Wonderful Life also kind of is a little bit of the Scrooge story, but you're only getting one ghost basically.
I guess, yeah.
It's
a little Mr. Destiny.
I do really like that it is a glimpse that he doesn't get to keep it, which I think is kind of a little heartbreaking at the end that he loses all that and
he doesn't
you realize
go back to that moment when
it's not 1987. He's
yeah,
which is a lot like, you know, the Christmas story, Christmas Carol. Scrooge doesn't wake up and get to be with his love. He's got to learn.
Yeah,
you did all this, but you can still make it right.
Right.
You know, he's gone. Jack's name of his son, right?
What's up?
Jack's his baby, the little son.
Jackson.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
I don't.
It was so memorable that I forgot his name.
Annie, the baby. You know, they're all house. That's
not going to be there.
They're not going to be there.
Right.
Obviously, the house is owned by somebody else.
Robert Downer Sr.
Robert Downer Sr. He's got to make another future.
A new one.
A new future.
But you have to imagine that if they have two children together, they're going to be those two children.
Are they? Now they got money. They live in a different place. They'll probably stay in the city.
Well, that's the thing. Now they're super rich. So like, it's almost like, okay, you're going to have love. But let's be honest. If you guys get together and you have, you realize that you should have stayed together and you have kids, you're not going to be that family anymore. The glimpse you saw, you're not going to move to Jersey. You both have money. She was about to move to Paris to take over
Paris. She's giving Prada bags to her assistant.
Clearly, you're going to be living in the Upper West Side on a giant penthouse with your 2 children with all your money. You're not going to just give it up. He's not going to give it up to go sell tires.
Exactly. And is she going to now do pro bono?
You know what? So wait a minute. So like this glimpse now this glimpse is really like phony. Like,
guys.
Well, because you're not gonna choose that. You're not. It's real easy to be. I'm a little annoyed.
Well. Here's the thing. He makes money. Maybe she can go do pro bono work now.
But
maybe she does really want that. But we don't know what she's like. But we don't know her.
But they're never going to be that glimpse couple who are struggling to balance their pay.
Right. They had 13 years of struggling. These characters had no struggles.
So the moral of the story is that, listen, so you know what? Don't go with somebody and go off and make your millions, but then realize, wait a minute, I should have fallen in love. But go back after you make your money and then start your family, because, hey, it's the best of both worlds. You made your money, but then you realize that you were missing love. Now go start your family. Oh, look, you're rich. Screw this movie.
Happy holidays.
Well, seriously, though, I mean, like, yeah.
I've always thought that about the movie, that that's the one thing I don't like in the movie, because it is kind of heartbreaking that he found happiness, and I'm sure he would try to do whatever it is to get that back, but he might not get that. Like, he might never achieve that happiness that his glimpse showed him. So it's almost a little mean-spirited that Cash, Don Cheadle's character, showed him this glimpse, because he can't have it.
He's an angel. Is that what we're saying?
I think so. At first I was like, oh, was he God? But no, he's got to be an angel, because he talks about the people upstairs and how he impressed the bigwigs upstairs.
Right. I don't know. Because like It's a Wonderful Life, he's going to kill himself. He stopped.
It's all about all the lives that he's
right. He's shown the life that if he never existed, but then he goes back. His life. He doesn't go back to a changed life. He goes back to his life. He chooses to go back and struggle and have
that his life's not really all that bad.
Right.
He's
exactly.
Important.
But there's really no. He's really not choosing to not have the power and the wealth and the success and be. You know what I mean?
I think when he goes to get her, he has chosen to do whatever it takes to get that back. We have to assume maybe he's willing to give it all up, but is she?
But he should be. See, here's the point. I like the ending. I do. I do think though it's somewhat put upon in terms of like the chaser down at the airport. It's like, kind of like, let's make it happen. Like he's sitting there, we're looking at his Stetson and all that stuff. And I get that.
Oh, when he's looking at his whiskey bottle. That's got to be a deleted scene, right? You saw some deleted scenes. Is that a deleted scene where he's got his old stuff?
No,
because he like really spends the time to really look at
what
the
they pepper
into
the box. What they put into the box, because he's a huge Elvis fan.
There's a lot of Elvis stuff, right?
Like that's why, because he makes reference to Honeymoon in Vegas.
Right.
He talks about how like I jumped out of a plane over, which I actually really like Honeymoon in Vegas. But the 5 pools, they're here. Oh, let's go. But anyways, we should put that on the list.
That's a good one.
But like I almost like want him to like, he has to make a choice. I know he's like, I'm not going to the airport, I'm not going to the merger, but we really never see the consequence of him not going. You assume that he just didn't go. We're assuming
he didn't go, but he could have just gotten another flight and gone later.
Right, exactly. I mean, I'm assuming she's going to eventually go on to the Paris flight the next morning. It's not like they're going to spend the whole. I don't know. This is what I'm talking about. Like, it's not one of my notes is it's surface deep. It's not really layered with a lot of nuances in terms of storytelling. It's got a lot of great moments.
What I do like about the ending, though, is that we're talking about it. We're talking about what could have happened, what might happen, because it does leave it open-ended. It doesn't like they don't kiss, they don't hug. There's no big embrace. There's just a coffee. There's the start of something. Right. A germ has been planted in them, and that's very interesting because a lot of other movies and a lot of Christmas movies, and maybe this is why it's more forgotten, is it's not necessarily the happiest ending. It's what's going to happen, and you don't know.
It's a satisfying ending for somebody in the audience watching. It's not necessarily a happy ending for the people in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you sit here, like we're doing, if you sit here and think about it, we really don't know what's going to happen, and we're like given like again, we're given like this surface deep storytelling of like this is here it is. Oh, you loved it, right? Because it was cute when. He was trying to walk a dog, and it was cute when the kids were telling him.
When he walks the dog in the middle of the street. Who walks a dog in the middle of the street?
I don't know. I don't know.
I was watching. I was like, get on the sidewalk.
Well, there was a couple of things that I like in terms of just kind of like that stuff. Like, why are the toys in the middle of the yard? You're out there in the middle of the winter playing. You're playing house. Listen, That's not happening. It's freezing out. Like
Those toys are gonna rust.
Guy's having a triple bypass surgery on the 26th of December. Yeah, tomorrow's a big day.
It's gonna clear me out.
The fact that they're having a neighborhood party on the 25th of December, where does that happen?
Oh wait. So this is only like maybe a couple weeks, right?
I think
So a couple of days later, he's at the bowling alley, and guess who's back?
Yeah.
Bypass guy.
Bypass guy going in.
It was just an in and out procedure. No, they crack open your chest, dude.
Oh, I'm all right. Don't worry about it. The fact that the bike, she's like, you took 6 hours to assemble that bike. 6 hours to assemble that tricycle? Are you kidding me? That's ridiculous. That does not take 6 hours to assemble.
I'm not very good.
Like, did he not get the instruction manual? But this is what I'm saying. There's stuff here. Like the whole fact that we're talking about when I said that, like they've been married for 13 years, but they both look great. She has the same haircut that she does. She has a different haircut when she's in 87. I'm talking about Kate Reynolds. She has the same haircut though in the glimpse and in real life. That's awfully convenient.
It's a little less poofy and a little straighter, but yes.
Make it longer. You also have the fact that, like I said, listen, I'm not saying that a lot of parents sometimes, you don't exercise a lot.
Yeah.
You don't have the time to do any of this stuff. You pack on some extra weight here and there, 10, 15 pounds. I'm not saying he's going to be obese, but you can't. Like that would have been a funny. That would have been a funny moment where when he gets out of bed and he just looks at his gut and he's just like, oh, like something like that. That would be funny, but you're not going to do that. I know that you're not going to have that in this movie. I get why you wouldn't, but like not even thinking about it. Was that even a thought that came up? Probably not. And so there's a lot of things in this movie that you kind of glance over because it's a Christmas movie or it's a holiday film.
Right.
This is funny. The kid's cute. This is cute. This scene's cute. That kind of stuff. It's got some heart, which it does. When he's watching the video of him singing to her and he's crying, that's a great moment. That's, it's got some really good moments. But when you kind of like put a magnifying glass to everything, then some of the stuff starts kind of.
I feel like that's pretty much any holiday movie.
I disagree. I think no way. Did you ever see the movie The Family Stone?
I have not actually.
It's a really good movie, and that movie to me, it's probably better than this movie. How dare
We're
me?
talking about the family.
Of course. I'm just saying.
That's fine. I do want to watch it. I know my fiance Elise, she really likes The Family Stone. She was actually mentioning it. She also mentioned, why haven't you watched Serendipity yet? And I was like, I have seen it, but it's been a long time. I can't really remember.
Serendipity's good, but
she really likes that.
I understand that.
That popped up after we finished Family Man. That's why it came up.
Oh,
do we want to watch Serendipity next? And she was already falling asleep. I was like, no.
I also like the fact that Diet Coke was 99 cents. Did you catch that?
Yeah, back in the day.
I was like, oh, remember those? They're $1.75 now. Actually, no, it's more than that. If you go buy it at like Cumberland Farms or something like that.
It depends on where you go.
Yeah. The character of Evelyn. Here's the thing.
Nothing.
Here's the thing.
Pointless.
And maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm just not. Maybe I'm oblivious to this. Maybe I just don't understand it. Maybe I'm just such a person that is. I'm not saying I'm not a people person. I'm just I have a low tolerance level for certain things. But she is so aggressive when she hits on him.
Oh, yeah.
It is clear and intentional, and when she is blatantly, like putting herself out there in front of his wife, it's like I have never experienced that. I've never seen that, like in any kind of setting.
Unless you're looking for a fight,
or really aggressive.
Yeah,
really aggressive.
Try these crab cakes.
But here's the thing, like, I mean, it could just be my personal experience. I don't, that's not something I relate to. But like, do you think that that's kind of a unintentional take on suburban life and parents? Do you think that is unintentionally?
I think so.
That you think that they're all these people are not happy, or some of them are, some people are trapped and like they feel like they're trapped, or you know what I mean?
I think so. And I think you get that with Jeremy Piven at the beginning, when he ends up knocking on his door and it's like, oh, we've been looking for you, buddy. And Arnie takes him in and shows him his man cave and then talks about him. And you go, remind yourself about that every day. She's like, she's my wife. Yeah, just tell her that every day. It's your mantra. Just say, my wife.
Yeah.
Till it really gets in there. Almost like they're both suffering because they have wives.
Right. Well, when you bring up the man cave, it's interesting you bring that up because I told you I watched special features, and I watched a 20-minute. It was kind of an interview between Ratner and the director Brett Ratner, and the producer Mark Abramson. Just kind of like talking about how like they got the movie together and stuff like that. And they actually talk about the scene. And I think it was Abramson was talking about, he talks about how like, oh, when we, I can't remember what they were referencing. I think, they were referencing just kind of like the production design or just kind of like suburban. And they talk about the man cave, but he references it in a way where he like ridicules it. Like he calls it something, and I can't remember, but it was not derogatory, but it wasn't like it, he kind of like puts it down. Like he thinks it's like this cheesy man or whatever it was. It's like, why are you doing that? That's not cool. Like that to me, that's a nose up in the air looking down on somebody who lives in suburbia. Absolutely. Who has a room like that, which is nothing wrong with that. I mean, I didn't like that. Well, I didn't like that.
Here's the thing, and this is probably why it's a surface deep film. This is a movie about how great it is to have a family and giving up the dream, like giving up all that money and power, made by people who are a ton of Jack Campbells producing this film.
You know what? That's a great point.
Looking down at it and going, yeah, it's the common or the plebes are really gonna like this movie because we're gonna look down at it.
I agree, and I agree with that because it feels like that. It feels like this is just like, oh, everyone loves that family, man, but you don't know what that is. And I don't believe for a second that you have lived any kind of this life where you have to worry about from paycheck to paycheck or the middle class and stuff like that, and worry about paying for things like that. Not for a second. You just kind of have an idea of what it's like because you were maybe a child in that time, or you saw a movie where that was what it's
their
like.
Parents went through it, but they didn't go through it.
Right.
That's why I think a lot of more maybe independent films get that better, or they have a deeper understanding of it and a deeper look at it. Like you look at we've talked about it before. I'm not a huge fan of American Beauty. But that's early Sam Mendes. He has more of a head to the ground when you're doing that kind of stuff. At this point, this is Brett Ratner. This is Nicolas Cage. They're at the top of their game at this point, having a ton of money going, let's make a movie about the little guy.
We can go down a huge path with this, but I think that's probably I agree. I think it's when you're not coming from a place of where that source material, like a movie like The Family Stone, I think is something that really understands that. Even a movie like Crazy Stupid Love, which deals kind of like with a couple divorce, kind of like you saw that movie with.
I very much like that. Yeah,
that's very a lot of that movie feels very honest and very sincere in terms of the family life and stuff like that.
These movies, that's probably why it can only be surface deep. And while it is a good surface deep movie, it's got all these feel good moments. It's well acted, well constructed, blah blah blah. It can't really get to that level. I think that you hope it could get to, or you would like it to get to, because of that fact.
This might be the first movie that we've done where I've gone in with one opinion and I've come out with a slightly lesser opinion of the movie.
Really?
I don't know. I just think because of
now you can actually see the family life.
I mean, yes, my house is a mess. My kids scream. But my kids are older than the kids in this movie, though. Right. So, but I've got if the house is, it's not. I would say it's a mess by my standards. It's not a complete pigsty.
No, it's really not. He can't really say
it. Thanks, Mike. But just not like the couch that I have. There's a part of the couch. We bought this couch maybe 8 months ago. There's a couch. The part of the couch is broken already because everyone sits in that part of the couch, and the couch is not great. But it's that's what you're stuck with. It's stuff like that. You make concessions. Yeah. I just, I'd love to have everything be perfect, but it's not. Everything's not perfect. Everything's not perfect anywhere. But I don't know. I think maybe the lack of, I question the sincerity of the filmmakers behind it in terms of knowing that life. And when I say I question, I'm not taking anyone to task. I don't believe it. Maybe that's okay. Maybe watching that 20-minute interview kind of soured me on it. Yeah, absolutely. I still love Nicolas Cage in it. I still love Leoni in it. I love the people. I love the actors in it. I love, I like Don Cheadle. I like everyone in it. But in terms of we talk about, I think I'm going to say it again. The level of the deepness level of the storytelling to me just seems like just enough to kind of convince you that, hey, this movie really means something. Or I don't know. It's tough. I can't put it into words. And of course, doing a podcast, that really helps. How about this? Let's get off that a little bit, and let's. I want to ask you if you noticed this because you always notice this.
Okay.
Did you notice that Jack wears a lot of green?
Yes.
What is up with that? What?
Maybe to keep a Christmas motif, like, hey, green Christmas, just to keep that. But I did notice that there's a lot of green. The suit he gets at the
Suit's
she
green.
gives him is green.
He has that big sweater jacket.
The big sweater jacket's green. He wears a robe that's green.
He has a Henley. Yeah.
There's a lot of green.
Second
going
sweater
on.
that's green. He
Yeah.
does wear one sweater that's blue one time
At the
when
Christmas
they go to the Christmas party.
Yes.
But everything else is green. Even like, but then like, there's even green. Like his bed sheets are green. I think one of the walls is green. Like one of the rooms has green walls. Like everything. Like I'm just like, I don't know why. Maybe it's just the set designer, or production designer, or the costume guys all decided that green was a great color for him.
There's got to be a reason for it. Costume designers don't just go green because it's a great color. They go, there's green because green represents this, or green's the color of money.
That's true. That's a good maybe.
Boom.
Maybe, but nobody else has any color themes.
He's your main character.
But that doesn't mean that's not fair. You can't theme one. You're gonna theme one person in the movie.
He's the fake person in this glimpse. He's the guy who doesn't belong. He's the guy that's the outsider in there.
Then why give him a blue sweater at the Christmas party?
Because there's already a lot of green because it's Christmas stuff everywhere.
No. I don't accept that.
I don't know. I do have to point out a Trek watch.
Oh boy, hang on. Let me. Can I guess it? Is it a character?
It's pretty easy to get, so you'll probably get it pretty much right away.
Oh no, go ahead. Who is it? Is that Saul Rubinek?
It's Saul Rubinek.
Ah.
He plays Kivas Fajo in the episode "The Most Toys," where he kidnaps Data.
Well, you know
because
what?
he wants to collect
Well,
them.
then I'm going to say something that Saul Rubinek was also in the Nero Wolfe series on A&E.
Oh, was he?
He played the reporter that always shows up at the house and eats with him, and he reveals information to him. So yeah, we both can do.
Oh, right.
We both can do that, right? He's also in Unforgiven.
Oh no, he's done a ton of stuff.
Yeah. And everyone knows Piven from Entourage.
Yeah.
That's
Not a,
I know you're not an Entourage guy.
I'm not a Piven guy.
You're not a Piven guy.
No, I
Wow.
think he comes from the camp of Brett Ratner. I can't imagine that he's not. I mean, I hope he's a great guy, but
I hear you.
I've heard some things.
No, I think everyone's heard some things, and that might be also the other reason why I'm kind of down on Family Man is just the Ratner stuff.
The Ratner stuff doesn't bother me as much because once I'm watching the movie, I don't have to look at him. I don't have to see him.
I get it.
I love the film K-Pax with Kevin Spacey.
No, I do not.
Well, that's your opinion, man.
No, that's fine.
That's not what this point is. The point is that I used to really love that movie. I thought it was really good. Now it's tough to watch it because
tough. It's tough in this day. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
About Kevin Spacey. It's tough in this day and age because everyone, and not that it's a bad thing, but you know everything about everybody now. You know everyone's personal life and stuff like that, and
right.
And things, and people, there aren't people don't keep secrets like that as they should not.
Yeah.
I'm not arguing that point. I'm just saying it's tough for you really like something and respond to a movie, and then you find out things about the people involved, and you're just like, damn it, and like it sucks. It really sucks. Yeah, absolutely. You want to watch somebody on screen that you like. You want that's a leading man on screen that you love. That is a great person in real life. You know what I mean? Everyone. You know what? The good people should be getting those opportunities.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
Shouldn't keep rewarding bad behavior.
Of course not. Of course not. And then now we could go into a bigger dive about where we work, what we want. All right. So I am not recommending. No, I am recommending this movie. That's fine. It's a good film. Do you have any final thoughts? Because I think we're wrapping up. Oh, I didn't even talk about how Paul Sorvino's in a deleted scene.
Oh yeah, tell us about that deleted scene where he plays.
Paul Sorvino's in a deleted scene, and there we go.
Well, he plays, according to the IMDb page, he's unused scene where he plays Sidney Potter, who is that third biggest.
It's basically
trucker guy.
It's basically. I think the scene is to show that Jack, even though Jack has no idea, like what to do with selling tires, he brings him in. Big Ed brings him in. Big Ed in this movie is Kate Reynolds' father. That's why you find out that Big Ed has a heart attack and Jack comes in to take over,
right,
and help out, and then he eventually just stays there. But he basically pitches him to buy their parts, and you just see kind of like Jack in action, kind of thing, like his salesmanship,
right? Which is what they bring up later, where when he's at Lassiter's office, he says, tires, nothing. It's all people, and I know people.
Right.
So it shows that he can.
They probably
succeed
didn't need that.
anywhere.
They probably didn't. They didn't need that scene when they had that one.
Because
So
you get it, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. So, do you have anything else?
Just that he says coupons, which really makes me mad.
Oh
I
man.
hate that. I looked at it and I was like, coupons. Done with this movie. But I really I think Don Cheadle does a really good job, which I mean, we didn't talk much about that.
He was he was added in. I think he wasn't initially his character. There was a character that was Don Cheadle's character, I think, in the original script, but they actually rewrote it, and I guess then I don't know if they rewrote it for Cheadle or they just rewrote it and then they casted Don Cheadle.
Okay.
But
It's like a different kind of reason he gets the glimpse, kind of a thing.
maybe it was just maybe it was a different scene, maybe it was a different way. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Maybe it wasn't like the convenience store or something like that.
But I like Don Cheadle because he really, like when he goes in and he's all like on edge and he pulls up the gun, but then he talks to Jack.
Right.
Then he's in the Ferrari in the next scene and he's like really smooth. He's a smooth talker. Like I think he did a really good job. And that was that's early Don Cheadle. Like,
Well, what do you need, Jack?
Me.
You just said everybody needs something.
I got everything I need.
Wow. It must be great being you.
I'm not saying that you'd be able to do it without some hard work, some honest hard work, and possibly some medicine.
You know, I'm going to really enjoy this. You just remember that you did this, Jack, okay? You brought this on yourself. Merry Christmas.
Well, do you remember Don Cheadle from Colors?
yes.
Yeah. I was on the other day and I forgot that he was in it. And I was like, oh my God, Don Cheadle. No, he's been in a lot of stuff. He's good. Don Cheadle's a really good actor. Yeah, absolutely. I can't remember. What's the movie? What's the name of the movie we did when it was about the Rwanda genocide? What was the name of that movie? Hotel? Was there something?
Hotel
like,
Rwanda.
was that what it was?
Yeah.
Was that PG-13 or rated R?
That had to have been rated R.
All right. Because I remember him in that. I liked him in that. I like that movie, even though it's tough subject matter.
Right.
But no, I like Don
Wasn't he
Cheadle.
nominated for that?
I want to say yes. I don't think he won, but I want to say yes.
Yeah,
He's great in the Oceans series.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's really good in Oceans.
Yeah.
Taylor Leoni is also really good in this movie as well. Which we kind of
everyone's
talking
good.
about. Yeah.
Everyone's good.
But I don't get Taylor Leoni doesn't do like a ton of stuff, which is surprising.
Well, she has kids, so maybe she's just kind of like
Maybe she's
focusing
become
on that.
The family
Woman.
family person.
Family person. I don't know I haven't seen her. No, she's in the CBS show. Wait, wasn't she in the Madam Secretary or something like that? Isn't that her?
Yeah, but I mean, before that,
But
it took a long time to get to something else. Like it's
But that's
shouldn't do as much as
a
I
5-year
think she
show.
would. Yeah, 2014 to 2019. No, that's she's gonna be the voice in something called Endangered.
There you go. She's working.
Let's see, her credits
well.
go from 2004, 5, 7, 8, 9, 11, 14.
5-year
maybe
gig.
it was the kid. Yeah, maybe it was
5-year
raising the
gig
kids.
on TV is pretty good. It's also steady work, which very hard to
Right.
find sometimes.
So yeah, that's all I got. I mean, I really like The Family Man. Its message might be only skin deep, but it is a good message. It is touching, and I think what sticks with me more than anything is the ending.
Well, when they're at
The kind of open up the ending. Let's just get a cup of coffee. That I think is always like there are certain things in movies that like that's something that really is why you remember it. Like movies like this where it's like there was a part that I remember and I should go back and rewatch it to see if I really like that movie or it was just that part that really stuck out.
right.
And I think the fact that ending was more open ended, that made it a little different, is what really stuck out to me.
I know we could both go on with our lives, and we'd both be fine. But I've seen what we could be like together. And I choose us. Please, Kate. 1 cup of coffee. You can always go to Paris. Just, please. Not tonight.
I will say that I think being older now that I've seen it, because I last saw it in 2000, the family aspect kind of, I think, meant more to me than it did when I was, 13, 14 when I first watched it.
That's what you want. You want to be a family man.
I want it all, man.
Uh-oh.
I'm still at that point where I want it all.
You better start
And then you
cracking.
get one or the other, and then that's it.
Better start cracking. You ain't getting young.
I ain't getting older, though.
Fiance's on notice. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. So yeah, well, how about this? Since this is a holiday movie and people are obviously they've opened their presents to the sounds of us talking about the Family Man, of course.
Absolutely. They're
We
sipping hot
apologize
cocoa
for the
around the
curse
tree.
words. But so what is your go-to holiday movie that you have to watch every year. Just give me one. Don't give me give me one movie that you're like, I have to watch that.
It's gonna have to be Christmas Vacation.
Okay.
Then.
All right. That's fair. That's fair. I think I guess that's the same. We actually do watch Love Actually a lot. I know nobody likes Love Actually, but that's fine. I don't care. I don't give a crap that everyone thinks so it's corny. That's fine. That's fine. You don't have to like it. I can like it. It's fine with me. But Christmas Vacation. I can't believe that's 89. That's like, oof.
Yep.
So old. I feel so old. No. I'm not, it's 30 years old.
Yeah.
No, I hear you. All right. So actually join us next week for New Year's Day, right?
New Year's Day.
New Year's Day. So after you celebrate your New Year's Eve celebration, whichever it's going to be, I will be working because I'm past the age where I really don't care about staying up that late anymore. So I work and nobody comes in on New Year's Eve night. They come in, everyone comes in dressed up very nicely at the theater for the 7:00 set. But then after that, it's nothing. It's nada. Don't come in. We don't want you then. Although this year, since Star Wars is coming out, I wonder if it'll be busy.
We were busy on Force Awakens that New Year's Eve.
The second part.
Damn it. Second part a little
Man,
bit.
I just told people not to come in. But anyways. So after you're doing your New Year's Eve celebration, join us the following day where we'll have our new episode, Strange Days, starring Ralph Fiennes and Angela Bassett, which Mike has not seen. So,
but
Mike,
I'm really excited.
yes. So that's why it's on the list.
It's right up my wheelhouse.
1995, I believe that came out. 95. Yep. All right, that's it for next week. So Strange Days. Thanks again for listening to our podcast. You can follow us on any of the social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You can go to our website, ForgottenCinemaPodcast.com. And you can also email us, ForgottenCinemaPod@gmail.com if we take suggestions.
That's right.
Yeah, so feel free, reach out, say hi, say hey, Butler stinks, Field stinks, whatever, we'll take it. Thanks again for listening. I'm Mike Field.
I'm Mike Butler.
And this has been Forgotten Cinema.
Happy holidays.
Oh. It's the most wonderful time of the year.
I just picture the scene of Krampus now where everyone's like piled on each other while let's play.
All right, that's true.
Krampus 3 episodes ago. If you haven't seen it, watch it.